Tonight, Canada's weighing sending troops to Greenland as Donald Trump ramps up his push to acquire the Arctic island.
It's a serious situation, and we're concerned. We're concerned about this escalation.
With Trump threatening tariffs against NATO allies, Europe is firing back, calling it a dangerous downward spiral.
Nobody in Europe is backing down.
Plus, as Ottawa prepares to lift tariffs on some electric vehicles from China, concerns about what it could mean for the auto sector here.
It just seems to be the start of the potential of an erosion of the auto industry in Canada.
And a Newfoundland community is pleading for help over a foul stench some are calling unbearable.
The worst smell that you ever smelled in your life.
The new damage to an abandoned factory containing vats of rotting fish sauce.
From CBC News, this is The National with Ian Hannamansing.
CBC News has learned that Canada is considering sending more troops to Greenland, joining other allies in exercises aimed at protecting the island as Donald Trump escalates his threat to seize it. And after Trump threatened tariffs against 8 European countries which oppose his bid to take Greenland from Denmark, they've responded with a united front, warning it could undermine NATO. As one EU leader put it, there is a readiness to defend against any form of coercion. The EU as a whole is weighing trade retaliation if Trump follows through with his tariff threat. As Chris Brown explains, it's some of the most forceful public pushback Trump has gotten from allies since he took office.
Greenland not for sale!
European shock at U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff threats over Greenland has coalesced into outrage.
I think he has lost his mind. I hope that there soon will be some more clever people in the States who will tell him, no, it's not going to work, this thing.
Citing the deployment of a small number of European NATO soldiers to Greenland, which is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, Trump says 8 European countries, including Britain, will get hit with a 10% tariff on February the 1st. He said the amount will rise to 25% in June and stay until there's a deal to sign Greenland over to the United States. That stark command to accept a U.S. takeover or else has effectively backed Europe into a corner. In a blistering statement, Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said Europe will not be blackmailed, while other European leaders struck a similar note of resistance. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said Europe wants constructive transatlantic relations, but will not be a vassal. Italy's Giorgia Meloni said imposing sanctions is a mistake, while France's President Emmanuel Macron said no intimidation or threat will influence us. And Britain's Keir Starmer wrote, applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO allies is completely wrong. Europe-friendly U.S. politicians were just in Denmark, saying Trump needs to give up on his Greenland idea.
I haven't spoken with the president.
But on the Sunday U.S. TV shows, key allies refused to criticize him.
I believe that the Europeans will understand that this is best for Greenland, best for Europe, and best for the United States.
The Europeans believe the Americans have put them in a position with no obvious off-ramp because Greenland's self-determination is not something they can compromise on. Ian.
And Chris, EU ambassadors met tonight but seem to be moving cautiously on their response.
Well, for the moment, they're actually not going to do anything. They're going to wait to see if Donald Trump goes ahead with these tariffs on February the 1st. And after that, they have a couple of options. They could bring in their own tariffs as retaliation, or they could hit U.S. businesses in Europe with other restrictions, particularly tech companies. But both of those measures would be escalations, and that is something the European Union is trying to avoid. Ian.
Chris Brown in London. While Europe plans its response to the U.S. threat, Ottawa is, as we mentioned, weighing a ramp-up of Canadian troops. Prime Minister Mark Carney is in Qatar, continuing to look for new trade partnerships. But as Ashley Burke shows us, Greenland was still top of mind.
Fanfare for the first sitting Canadian Prime Minister to visit Qatar. Mark Carney back in the Middle East for the second time in months. The streets of Doha lined and lit up with maple leaves as he tries to deepen ties with another country outside of the U.S.
To launch this new chapter in our relationship, I'm pleased to announce that Qatar has committed to make significant strategic investments in Canada's nation-building projects.
Those Qatari investments aimed at clean energy, AI, and defense industries, but no details, dollar figure, or timeline, and more questions about once again doing business with another country facing human rights complaints right after a deal with China.
Canada is always true to its values, and that remains true with whomever you engage around the world. And at the same time, you can develop commercial trading relationship, investment relationship.
As Carney travels around the world trying to make Canada less reliant on its southern neighbor, the Prime Minister says he's worried about Trump's latest threat to use tariffs against other European allies resisting his takeover of Greenland.
It's a serious situation, and we're concerned. We're concerned about this escalation, to be absolutely clear.
Two sources tell CBC News the Prime Minister is weighing contingency plans to send a small group of soldiers to Greenland for exercises with NATO allies. But Carney wouldn't confirm today if he'd send troops.
We always will support sovereignty and territorial integrity of countries wherever their geographic location is.
But as Carney stands with NATO allies, he was careful to not directly criticize Trump. Carney's wrapped up talks here and is headed to Switzerland on Monday for the World Economic Forum that Donald Trump is also expected to attend. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Doha.
The Prime Minister says he has in principle accepted an offer to join Donald Trump's Board of Peace. It is tasked with helping in the reconstruction of Gaza. But Carney also had questions about the board, and he's not alone.
The Board of Peace, this is a board like no other.
Multiple U.S. media outlets report the board's charter doesn't mention Gaza at all, raising concerns it has broader ambitions and may aim to displace the UN. Membership lasts for a 3-year term, but can become permanent if a member pays $1 billion to the board, which Trump chairs personally. When asked about the billion, Carney said he wanted more details.
I mean, that's one of the look, the modalities of that, money, how's it going? All these questions. Canada wants money to have maximum impact.
It's unclear who among the board's currently announced members have paid or intend to pay the billion-dollar fee. The Prime Minister is also defending his new trade deal with China, calling it an opportunity for Canada. He says Chinese companies not only want to send electric vehicles here, they're interested in making them in this country. JP Tasker has the details.
In Canada's auto capital, there is anxiety over what Prime Minister Mark Carney's deal with China on electric vehicles could mean for Ontario's battered automotive sector.
It just seems to be the start of the potential of an erosion of the auto industry in Canada.
In exchange for tariff relief on Canadian farm products like peas and canola, Carney agreed to lift levies on a set number of Chinese EVs. Leading Chinese automakers like BYD are state subsidized, and those low-cost imports could blow a hole in domestic manufacturing, says Windsor's mayor.
There has to be a guardrail that if we're going to allow the sale of 45,000 cars, EV cars from China every year, it has to come with some job guarantee at some point.
Now, a suggestion from Carney. Those jobs could be coming. He says Chinese car companies are signaling they could set up shop in Canada.
I do know there's interest because we've had direct conversations directly from the Chinese companies.
If it happens, Canada could become the first country in North America to build an EV with Chinese knowledge.
It's an opportunity for Ontario workers, opportunity for Canada, done in a controlled way.
While there is concern in Ontario, in Saskatchewan, canola farmers are celebrating. China is lifting tariffs that have suppressed canola prices.
We're so used to having disappointment in this file that when you start seeing some progress, I was ecstatic.
Dominic Barton is Canada's former ambassador to China. He helped secure the release of Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, detained by Beijing for nearly 3 years. He says it's worth talking to the Chinese, especially if they're willing to put money into the auto sector.
One, it's going to create jobs for Canadians and have a supply chain in Canada that I think it's something we need to look at. China is by far the leader in EVs.
Last week, U.S. President Donald Trump said America doesn't need any Canadian-made cars. And while he said that before, it's put renewed pressure on Carney to craft an auto policy to protect that critical sector. A senior government official tells CBC News one is coming in February, and it's expected to include a made-in-Canada provision.
And what would that look like, JP?
The official tells us the government will give preferential access to foreign car makers who manufacture vehicles in Canada. It's a protectionist policy that sounds similar to what Trump himself is pursuing stateside. While the details are still being sketched out, it could include Canada slapping tariffs on foreign-made vehicles if a car company has no manufacturing presence here at home. Ian?
JP Tasker in Ottawa. In southern Spain, at least 21 people are dead and dozens are injured after two high-speed trains collided. A train traveling from Malaga to Madrid derailed, jumping onto a neighboring track, slamming into a second train going in the opposite direction. On one of the trains, at least 300 people were believed to be on board. The cause of this still not known. Chile has declared a state of catastrophe as more than 20 wildfires tear through the country's south. At least 18 people have died and thousands have been forced to evacuate. Officials say at least 250 homes have been destroyed so far. The country has seen extreme heat and high winds since the start of the year. Hundreds of U.S. soldiers are on standby tonight for possible deployment to Minnesota. The Trump administration is considering calling in reinforcements for its controversial immigration crackdown. Mike Crawley now with how people there are responding and the growing political fallout.
Bitter January cold in Minneapolis and bitter sentiment toward the continued immigration enforcement push in this city. More than 2,000 officers from ICE and other federal agencies currently in Minnesota could soon be joined by 1,500 military personnel. 2 battalions of Army paratroopers stationed in Alaska have been ordered to prepare to deploy to the state after the U.S. president threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act over the anti-ICE protests.
How will you respond if those troops are in fact deployed?
That would be a shocking step. The purpose here is to intimidate. In Minneapolis, we're not going to be intimidated.
For Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, soldiers in the streets is not the only threat on his mind. He and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz face a Department of Justice investigation into whether they conspired to interfere with immigration enforcement.
You saw the governor and the mayor actively encouraging criminals to go out on the street and impede ICE. That is not allowed under our law.
When we did these operations in other cities across the country, we didn't see this kind of violence. The elected leaders and Mayor Fry is allowing that to happen.
Critics accuse the Trump administration of exaggerating the level of violence in Minnesota's anti-ICE protests.
Immigrants are under attack. What do we do?
On Saturday, demonstrators clashed with a right-wing influencer who tried to hold a rally in favor of the immigration crackdown. The Trump administration says its enforcement efforts are targeted at deporting violent criminals. The latest figures from Homeland Security show that nearly 1/3 of the people in custody in the nationwide immigration sweep have neither been convicted of nor charged with a crime. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Washington.
Ottawa's gun buyback opens tomorrow. Owners of banned firearms have until the end of March to sign up. The program offers compensation for turning in or deactivating certain guns, but not all provinces are on board. Sam Sampson now with the rollout and the pushback.
Ottawa says its gun buyback program will make Canada safer.
These are firearms designed for war, for killing people. They have no place in our communities.
Starting Monday, gun owners have until the end of March to apply to surrender or deactivate their banned firearms for cash. Since 2020, Ottawa has reclassified 2,500 guns as illegal. Many on the list are semi-automatic weapons.
Handguns are more used, to commit crimes than semi-automatic rifles. That being said, Those rifles are used by mass killers, as in Porte-à-Pique, for example, or Polytechnique.
A trial last year saw 25 guns collected on Cape Breton Island when officials expected 200. Ottawa says it learned from that, making registration easier and extending the application window. With almost $250 million set aside, Ottawa believes it can compensate about 136,000 collected firearms. But several provinces are not on board. Both Ontario and Manitoba say they won't give provincial resources to the program.
If we're looking at taking away weapons from criminals, from people who are causing violence in our streets, I'm all for that. But this program doesn't look like it's going to achieve that.
The buyback program will run everywhere except Saskatchewan and Alberta. Those provinces amended laws to avoid administering the program. Canadians there can still sign up, but there's no guarantee they'll be included.
The magazines are in here.
Some gun owners say Ottawa is punishing law-abiding citizens.
You are taking personal property that they have worked hard to buy and just said to them, you can't have that anymore. Nobody's committing a crime with them, so why do we have to give them up?
Ottawa is reminding Canadians, though, that these banned firearms must be disposed of before the end of October. If you're found with one after that, you could face criminal charges. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Edmonton.
Leaders of the Northern BC First Nation say it suffered a tremendous loss after a fire destroyed the community's school. It happened yesterday morning in the Blueberry River First Nation. Police and firefighters arrived to find the building engulfed in flames. The community is about 80 kilometers northwest of Fort St. John. No one was injured. The school also served as a place for gatherings, including funerals. In a small Newfoundland community, a stench is getting even worse after wind damaged an abandoned building, exposing the rotting fish inside. It's prompting health and environmental concerns. Julia Israel shows us the renewed calls for help.
Ferocious winds ripping the southern coast of Newfoundland are airing out a toxic issue long left shut.
Rotten fish is what it is. It's just a sour, awful smell.
A nauseating smell cloaks the rural town of St. Mary's. The abandoned fish sauce plant here has caused strife since it was built in the 80s. Winds this week tore off the plant's wall, leaving huge vats of fermenting fish even more exposed.
I wouldn't put my clothes on the line because the smell will go through your clothes.
The worst smell that you ever smelled in your life, times about 10, times about 20.
A 2016 Environment Canada report found the effluent inside the plant to be acutely lethal to fish. Now, with the plant's wall floating out at sea, Mayor Steve Ryan's concerns are growing.
We have one resident lives there just about 50 to 100 feet away from it, so we're going to evacuate her tomorrow. And another concern that I have on the opposite side that we can't do much about is the environment.
For years, Ryan has been calling for support from the federal government.
Why don't they have money to help a little small town in St. Mary's in Newfoundland? We have 307 residents. Why we've been left behind by the federal government is pretty disheartening.
CBC News reached out to the federal Minister of Environment, who did not respond in time for broadcast. For now, the community is forced to live alongside the smell.
I always think of that for that plant, how it took away so much for so many people in St. Mary's. Kids couldn't play up on the field from times because there's too much of a stench and the stink. Unless you live here, you don't get it. You really don't get it.
A statement from the provincial environment minister says the department is committed to cleaning up the site, and it will be on the ground Monday morning to focus on the next steps. With another windstorm expected, there may be more damage to come. Julia Israel, CBC News, St. Mary's, Newfoundland.
Some Canadians with service dogs say they're wrongfully being turned away when attempting to catch a ride with Uber.
You feel like a failure somehow, and somehow it's my fault.
How the company is responding. Has craft beer peaked?
The growth phase of the industry is over.
Why some brewers are being forced to turn off the taps. And lessons by Kawhi Leonard.
I could see the kids' eyes light up when they were looking at him.
We're back in 2.
The moon is something I've sort of taken for granted. Now I've been staring at it a lot more, and I think others are going to join us in staring at the moon a lot more as there are humans flying around the far side.
That's Canadian astronaut and Artemis II specialist Jeremy Hansen this weekend as the first crewed mission to the moon's orbit in more than 50 years prepares for launch. The rocket's sliding into position. The earliest launch window is next month, and I'll be hosting special coverage live from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida when that happens. Uber drivers are being called out by people who rely on service dogs. CBC's Go Public team spoke with several who say their animals have been refused by some drivers, even though that is against the law. Sophia Harris has their story and the company's response.
Good boy. Let's go. Salome Solomon is legally blind, so she relies on two things to get around: her guide dog Zurich and Canada's dominant rideshare service, Uber.
You don't want to take me in? Yep. Okay, I'm going to send this video to Uber.
But Solomon says she's routinely turned away by Uber drivers who won't let Zurich in their car.
Why? It's a service dog.
Every rejection breaks you down. So for me, it basically hits deep, like it's like a dagger to my heart. Straight up.
In Canada, people with disabilities have a legal right to travel with a service animal, which Uber acknowledges in its own policy. But several riders told CBC's Go Public Uber drivers sometimes reject them.
You feel like a failure somehow, and somehow it's my fault because I'm disabled and I'm not good enough to be treated like everyone else.
James Wilkinson's service dog Bo helps him cope with his autism.
Up, up.
On the day CBC interviewed him, one Uber driver picked him up, but a second canceled his ride home.
You were walking across the street and the car drove away?
Yeah, it's happened so many times that it's just, well, there goes another one.
This disability advocate says inaccessible transport is a systemic problem in Canada, and Uber needs to do better.
Imagine the indignity of being told that your needs are not valid. We need people to be driving who are open and understanding of their obligations, fundamentally.
You can't deny me access.
We showed Solomon's videos to Uber.
It's humiliating, it's painful, and it's completely unacceptable. The only acceptable ride refusal number is 0. And that's the number that we're working to get to.
Uber says it has taken concrete action to combat the problem, like driver education, enhanced technology, and banning drivers who break the rules. But the company admits its work isn't done because some riders are still being left at the curb. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Vancouver.
Our Go Public stories come from you. If you have a tip for the team to investigate, send an email to gopublic@cbc.ca. An independent Canadian artist is vying for a Grammy alongside some of music's biggest icons.
I can't really compete against the profile of the artist that you just named, so I have to do it like a Canadian.
How she got here and who she's up against. Plus, new research led those trained to enter the eye of hurricanes give new insight into big storms in Canada.
They have their hurricane mission, but during the winter, we have atmospheric rivers across the Pacific, of course, and they can be really helpful.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. Who needs two skis to stick the landing? Not Mate Svenser. The Austrian freestyler lost a ski Saturday while launching off the ramp. He made 3 full rotations in the air, then landed successfully on his one remaining ski. The spectacular move clinched a second-place finish for Svenser at a free ski World Cup event in Switzerland. The craft beer craze of the last few years may be slowing down. The industry's hurting, and the number of Canadian breweries declining. Paula DeHatchik looks at why.
This beer maker says in his industry, change is brewing.
We've seen it across the board, whether it's changing in drinking styles or just where the economy's at, where definitely sales are down.
In a 5-year period, the number of breweries in Canada climbed to more than 1,100, but that number has flattened and last year shrank by nearly 3%, according to this analyst.
Seeing an end to that growth in and of itself is significant. The growth phase of the industry is over.
Some say it was bound to happen eventually.
For years and years, we saw this massive expansion that happened really, really quickly within the industry. And with that came a lot of new entrants, and not a lot of whom had really long-term business models.
Tastes and habits are also changing. Beer Canada says sales across the industry are down, and it says younger generations aren't drinking the way their parents did.
I know anecdotally, a lot of the people that I knew actually stopped drinking altogether, including myself.
This former brewery owner is back to working in finance after closing his doors in 2025. He says the decision was driven by a combination of factors: bad timing, funding challenges, and a change in their core customer.
We just had to cut our losses and unfortunately learn from it and move on.
What COVID did, I think, is changed people's entertainment habits. And so what it's meant for breweries is they've had to work much harder to get bums in chairs.
He says breweries are still finding success by learning to branch out.
Obviously, when we see the customer's taste change, that's like a big one for us and number one. So, you know, we had to reevaluate what products we're making, what beers are going out the door.
These days, one of his top sellers isn't a beer at all. It's a craft iced tea. Paula Duhacek, CBC News, Calgary.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Trained to fly into the eye of a hurricane, U.S. Air Force crews now setting their sights on the Pacific coast.
We have atmospheric rivers across the Pacific, of course, and they can be really helpful for those.
How hurricane hunters could help forecast some of BC's most unpredictable weather. But first,
Keep on moving, keep on moving.
Canadian jazz singer Laila Biali, now a Grammy nominee alongside some of the biggest names in music. I sat down with Biali at a Toronto jazz club where we discussed the impact of her surprise Grammy nomination and the making of her album Winter Songs, which she describes as a love letter to Canadian winters. You didn't believe it when people said to you you'd been nominated.
No, it was so beyond fathomability, if that's a word for me, that it was just, for about 24 hours, we just thought we'd maybe been punked.
And who can blame her?
With the daybreak light.
Toronto singer Laila Biali may be well known in Canada's jazz community, but in terms of name recognition, take a look at her fellow Grammy nominees in this year's Best Traditional Pop category. Vancouver-born Biali is an independent artist, not backed by a big label. So independent that she had to fill out and submit her Grammy application on her own.
It feels a little bit like a shot in the dark, to say the least. And in this case, as you might know, I had entered into jazz and they moved it into traditional pop. And at that point, I thought, there's no way. I cannot break through in this category as a nominee.
You're listening to CBC Music, and I'm your host, Laila Biali.
The musician and host of CBC's Saturday Night Jazz is a Juno winner who's balanced her solo career with stints as a backup singer for Paula Cole and Sting. Winter Songs is her 10th studio release. It was co-produced with her husband, Ben Whitman. We met up at the Jazz Bistro in Toronto. Tell me about the moment that you discovered you'd been nominated for the Grammy.
Well, we were sitting at home, my husband and co-producer and I. We had our computers set to their broadcast, which was live. And interestingly, they didn't announce my category as part of the broadcast, so people started texting me. There was a separate feed, and we didn't think it was real. And Ben said, you better check to make sure it's accurate before you start sharing and posting about this.
And when you did verify it?
Yeah.
Then what?
Oh, I mean, in some ways, awe is a strong word to use, but I had come out of such a hard season of possibly, not really wanting to hang up my mic, but just not sure about next steps, a woman in midlife, figuring it out.
Well, you had hit your head backstage at a performance and you had a concussion and whiplash. It affected your voice.
Yeah.
You were performing less. You had less of a vocal range than before.
Yeah.
You and your manager parted ways?
Canadian agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the nomination must have been such a turnaround.
It really was. It kind of felt like a little bit of a life vest, musically speaking. Because music is what I love and truly what I most want to do and want to continue to do. But it's tough out there, The
other nominees in the category are amazing. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But let's focus right now on Winter Songs, your album. And what should people watching know about that album?
Well, it's a love letter to Canadian winter.
The mountainside in morning light casts a miracle hue.
I wrote it at the Banff Center, which is really my creative home and has been for 10 years now. It's where I go to do most of my writing, and often just in 3 days at a time. But with Winter Songs, I was gifted 2 weeks at this incredible studio in the woods with floor-to-ceiling glass windows and looking out on winter scenes. So it's like the snow is falling, right? I'm painting at the piano. It's not much at the piano, but with the strings, it begins to really expand.
So you're in Banff,
Yeah.
and you're putting together pieces of Winter Songs.
Yeah.
And then you're sending voice files to your husband.
I am. Yeah, so interestingly, these days, I don't write anything down until the song, I mean, it may not be fully formed, but I get quite a ways into it before I will write anything down. And the first thing that happens is I record it on my voice memos on my iPhone, and then I send those voice memos. Usually, I may listen to them a few times myself to make sure I'm happy with what I'm hearing, and then I'll send them off to Ben. And so he'll listen to these songs, he'll import them into his studio, which is in our home, in our basement. And he begins to kind of let them marinate a little bit, and he's starting to get ideas. And very often we're on the same page once we actually come together in the flesh, usually in our living room. The upright piano, Ben will bring, sometimes it's his kit.
Just like a setup like this, and I'm actually about this
It's
far away
kind
from
of
you.
like
It's pretty much
this,
just like
actually.
this.
Welcome to our living room, Canada. So here we go.
Let's talk about those other nominees for a moment. I'm going to throw the names out, and
Yeah.
maybe you can give me a sentence or two
Okay.
reaction,
Yeah,
because
sure.
it is an incredible list.
Yeah, it is.
Jennifer Hudson.
Iconic, first album in 10 years. Together with Common the rapper, I mean, she's a showstopper. It's a showstopper.
Elton John and Brandi Carlile.
Also iconic, and two of the best songwriters you will ever come across, on top of being extraordinary singers and people.
Lady Gaga.
The Queen. She loves jazz, so that makes her, you know, that endears her to me especially, but what a powerhouse singer, and she's fearless. In everything that she does, she is fearless.
Leve.
One of my favorites now, a new favorite. And I listened to her album following the nomination and was quite stunned by what I heard, the authenticity. They call her the Taylor Swift of mid-century modern music. It was my 13-year-old at the time, he's now 15, who introduced me to her because she'd exploded over TikTok. And she's the new it girl, and she deserves to be that.
And I saved for the last Barbra
Oh.
Streisand.
Babs, Barbara. Well, I already used the word queen for Lady Gaga, but I have the feeling that's what Lady Gaga would say about Barbra Streisand. She's the OG, she's the GOAT. She's the greatest of all time.
I'm not saying this, you said it on Instagram. You're kind of the underdog in this
Yeah.
category.
I am. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, so how does a plucky, independent, resilient artist compete against these others for the vote? What's your strategy?
You know, that's a really good question, because I have been very daunted at how to approach campaigning and how to continue to make sure that my music is heard by my fellow Recording Academy members. And I think I just have to continue to share who I am as a musician in person, my story, Winter Songs, and hope that the music, the artistry, speaks for itself. I can't really compete against the profile of the artist that you just named. And so I have to do it like a Canadian. You know what I mean?
Big? No.
Yeah, right. You know, but I think Ben, again, my husband, he said, don't apologize. That's what I always want to do. I want to say, this is not, it doesn't make sense. You know, that's really what's running through my head. And he reminds me, you got to own this. You know, you were fairly put forward and got given one of 6 spots by your peers, by the Academy, so be proud.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful not to hide it under a bushel, as they say.
It's a beautiful album, and one of the nice things about this nomination is that people will discover it. And I mean, I discovered it because of the nomination, and I'm so glad I did, because it's a beautiful thing to listen to. Sting is one of the many artists who are doing duets with Barbra Streisand on her album, and you worked with him. He's a friend of yours.
He is. I mean, it feels bold to say that, but he's so kind. And, you know, we've now known one another for, 16 years? And he is a musician's musician, and working with him, it was like getting into the sandbox together. He's the consummate professional and so ridiculously talented, but he just loves the process. And he invites all the musicians he works with into the process. And then, we've remained friends. We've continued to work together just here and there. And I actually texted him when I got the nomination that day, and he said, "You've got my vote," which I thought was incredibly generous.
Yeah, well, especially because he's on one of the other.
I know, I didn't even know at that time yet.
Any good thing to make us all merry. Soul cake, a soul cake. Please goodness of the soul cake. 1 for Peter, 2 for Paul, 3 for him that made us all.
Did you learn anything from Sting about fronting a band?
Yeah. Yes, I did. So he was, in terms of rehearsals, he was the first to show up and the last to leave. So never rest on your laurels. Always be serious about the music. But on top of that, he's gracious. So we were at his villa in Tuscany, the 4 singers who were working with him on his winter song.
Let's just pause for a moment.
I know.
That's a pretty cool sentence. We were at his villa in Tuscany, Sting's villa.
Il Palagio, right? And so I whisked off to this incredible estate that also feels like it's grand, but it's also very warm. And there was one song that was new to me, and I was sight reading it, and for some reason I mixed up what I thought it was in treble clef, but it was in bass clef, and so I was singing all the wrong notes. And he just let me carry on, and it wasn't to humiliate me. It's as though he trusted me to figure it out on my own. He didn't want to say, "Oh, wait, hold on." And that's what I noticed kind of from there forward in various settings, working with him. You know, people would botch things and would make mistakes, and he just always left space for them to sort it out themselves. There was a lot of trust.
So you yell less now to the people you work with after seeing him?
I was never a yeller.
I know.
Horse part, sleigh ride, runner, slip and slide.
Grammy night, have you thought about it?
Yeah. It's like Grammy day and night.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes on and on and on between all the different categories, and there's a pre-televised segment and a televised segment. Haven't figured out what I'm wearing yet, but I'll work with a Canadian stylist, Joe Jin, and I'll be decked from head to toe in Canadian creations, no doubt.
It's only been a few weeks since the nomination. Has it changed anything yet?
Mostly my internal landscape, you know? Every now and then you need someone else to tell you that they believe in you. And for me, that was that moment. So I feel profoundly different than I did prior to the nomination. I felt like I was winding down. Now it feels a little bit like I'm winding up again. So, yeah.
Well, no matter what happens, Grammy night 2 weeks from now, this is a showcase for all the nominees. Her album, Winter Songs, is fantastic. And Leve, who I discovered only getting ready for this interview, also fantastic. Coming up, why an American Air Force program is conducting missions off BC's Pacific coast.
What was once reserved for the biggest and baddest storms on Earth is now being used on atmospheric rivers like this one.
Our senior meteorologist explains how these flying laboratories could protect lives and property here at home. That's next. U.S. Air Force planes flying into hurricanes to collect data now being used for a different weather threat.
They have their hurricane mission throughout the summer and fall, but during the winter, we have atmospheric rivers across the Pacific.
Hopes the information they collect will help better predict dangerous weather approaching BC.
We can see up to a 20% improvement in that forecast.
CBC News senior meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff breaks down why the evidence the planes collect is so crucial and how it's driving a major expansion of the Hurricane Hunter program.
This rain, all of this exact rain falling here in Vancouver, we're getting more information about these kinds of soakers than ever before with hurricane hunters. What was once reserved for the biggest and baddest storms on Earth is now being used on atmospheric rivers like this one. And it's changing how well we can forecast extreme rain, flooding, and landslides, sometimes days earlier, in a way that's never been done before. I'll explain. For over 80 years, scientists have been flying specially outfitted aircraft, essentially flying laboratories, straight into the eye of hurricanes, built to handle the toughest conditions, collecting data that satellites can't. These planes are piloted by some of the most experienced aviators in the world. Crews from the U.S. Air Force Weather Reconnaissance Squadron, famously nicknamed the Hurricane Hunters. Their reputation, legendary among meteorologists. But these planes aren't just chasing hurricanes anymore. They're now flying into massive rain-producing storms called atmospheric rivers, like this one, drenching Vancouver.
They have their hurricane mission throughout the summer and fall, but during the winter, we have atmospheric rivers across the Pacific, of course, and they can be really helpful for those.
Atmospheric rivers deliver most of the West Coast rain and snow in a year, but they're also behind our biggest floods, landslides, and thanks to climate change, some of our hardest to predict weather. And that's exactly why scientists are chasing them out at sea. As the planes fly through the storm, they release instruments called dropsondes, weather scanners that fall through the atmosphere, measuring temperature, pressure, wind, and how much water vapor the storm is carrying, like taking an MRI of the storm itself. By measuring these storms offshore, forecasters can better predict how strong they'll be, where they'll hit, and how much rain and snow they'll unload. And that means earlier warnings, better flood preparation, and smarter decisions before the rain starts.
In the western U.S., for some cases, we can see up to a 20% improvement in that forecast. And then overall, in some seasons, we see up to like a 10% improvement in those same regions. And that's a pretty huge improvement over just a year period. I think 10% relates to like how much a model might improve over a 10-year period.
And these river hunters, okay, that nickname hasn't stuck yet, will soon be deployed everywhere. This winter, the reconnaissance program is going global. Flights are expanding into the Atlantic with more ocean buoys and international partners feeding into the weather models. The goal is to extend reliable forecasts beyond that 1-week limit. So more time to prepare for atmospheric rivers that are becoming more intense in a warming world.
The atmospheric rivers that affect BC typically originate in the tropical and subtropical Pacific, sometimes carrying water vapor from as far away as Hawaii. It's estimated they contribute as much as 25% of the annual rainfall on BC's coast. Coming up, Kawhi Leonard returns to Toronto.
You could feel the energy shift as soon as he walked through the door.
Why the NBA superstar was leading drills. Next, in our moment. Here's a familiar face for Toronto Raptors fans, Kawhi Leonard, not only back in the city, but also leading some drills. Leonard may not be a Raptor anymore, but he was sure to highlight how much the city still means to him. And this exciting moment for some young players makes our moment.
You could feel the energy shift as soon as he walked through the door. All the kids turned around and stopped what they were doing, and the parents took out their phones. Parents that were, just as excited as the kids. You only really get to see these basketball players when they're there for the game, but to see him walk into more of a community-based setting, for me, it felt nice. When somebody wouldn't make their shot, he would catch the ball and toss it back to them. I could see the kids' eyes light up when they were looking at him, and they were like, "Oh, I got a pass from Kawhi Leonard." So it gives the kids the feeling that they're not working for nothing, that the effort that they put into the game, it's going to pay off eventually. I was happy for my children who are huge basketball fans. It was nice to see him back in Toronto. We all commemorate the time of the championship in different ways, but as a parent of basketball-loving children, it felt good for them.
So he came back apparently for a couple of reasons. One is that a mural was being unveiled at that gym to mark not just the championship, but of course his buzzer beater, one of the great moments in Canadian sport, but also his son was born in Toronto. So he wanted to bring his son back to the city and show him where he was born and where he spent his first few years. From all of us on The National, thanks for being with us. I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing in Vancouver. You can join me on CBC News Network weeknights at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. See you then.